At the end of the interview, what I try to do is to try to get a little bit of your story of how did you go from Brooklyn, New York, to study placebo effects and being director of a center at Harvard that actually is looking at this. So to go a little bit through the life history and maybe if we can start from Brooklyn, that would be...
That's great. No, Brooklyn tells you can do anything you want to do, right? You got to be tough to survive. What else? So I was involved in the anti-war movement, the civil rights movement in the 60s. And then when things got really crazy and my friends got really, really crazy, I said I better do something else. I lived in farms for a while, a part of that whole rejection of mainstream that was part of the 60s. And then I decided to learn a trade. And I picked Asian medicine, Chinese medicine, because I thought that Mao Zedong and the Buddha both could not be wrong, meaning from a very materialist perspective and a very idealistic perspective. They both seem to think the values of Chinese medicine. I think now people can be wrong from lots of perspectives. I learned that. But I learned Chinese medicine. I was really good at it. I really loved it. I was invited to do research at Harvard in Chinese medicine because I've actually...
And you learned Chinese medicine here in the US or in China?
I learned in China. No, I went to school in China.
Okay.
And I helped introduce the profession to the Western world, Europe, the States, and Australia. And when I was invited to Harvard to do research in Chinese medicine, I realized that everyone talked about the placebo effect. Is it more than placebo, acupuncture, or Chinese herbs? And I said, that's interesting, but what is the placebo effect? And I noticed the rhetoric. It's something that's bad, and the way it sounded, the way black people are described by racists, or homophobic people describe gay people, or sexist people describe women as like, it's bad, it's no good for you. And I go, well, what exactly is bad about this thing? And I said, I'm going to study the placebo effect, not Chinese medicine. And I was in the right place at the right time, and NIH was interested in some of my proposals. And then I became a placebo researcher. And then a lot of people said they wanted to work with me, so I said, okay, let's work together.
and then now you mentioned you were in anti-establishment thinking.
I think that's the right word, anti-establishment, right?
And in some sense, like by studying the placebo effect later, a little bit you were going against, what some.
It has an element of positive subversiveness, yeah.
Yeah. Now we live in a world in which actually there's a crisis of representation, and you've seen, manifestations in many countries, the younger generations are heated up again.
Oh, I know.
Do you see any similarity with the time where you and your friends
I was down at Occupy Boston. I loved it, and Occupy Harvard. I felt so reinvigorated by people saying things need to get better, and people without voices need to have voices. I'm not a social activist anymore, and I really don't think of myself as, I think of myself as creatively subversive, not destructively subversive. And I learned the hard way how sometimes one can be self-righteous and arrogant when you want to change the world quickly. But I think there's a continuity, and the continuity, I would say, is how do you make the world a better place? And how each one of us can contribute to making the world a better place, in be it taking care of people that are nearby or helping bring new ideas in the world to take care of people.
So what would you advise now, these new generations that are actually now?
I love this new generation. I'm so excited. With all these great things people do, I don't understand. I think I feel like I'm holding it together around placebo effects, but I really want to hand over the baton to some of my postdocs as soon as possible, because they have better ideas and they're going to be great.
Yeah, well, I'm glad to see that you're so optimistic about the future. And
I hope I'm right. Obviously there's other ways of perceiving it, but I hope I'm right.
Well, and it was great having you, Ted. It was an amazing conversation. We learned a lot, and I hope you enjoyed the time at Cambridge
Cesar,
Nights.
thank you very much for inviting me. I had a good time. Real pleasure.
Thank you.